for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world on HBO pay-per-view. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey there, and welcome to the Fantasy Fight Night podcast, brought to you by B3T Sports and Dynasty Pros. You can listen to us on Fantasy Fight Night on Anchor. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. The best thing that you can do to help out the show, follow us on Twitter. He is at AdamSkiFantasy. I am Andy Heidemann, and the show is Fantasy Fight Night, FNTASYFIGHTNITE. The winner of the October B3T Sports free jersey giveaway was selected this morning, and it is our friend Evan Meester, friend of the show.
Oh, did he really?
I know. He follows. He listens to every single episode podcast that we put out. So I'm actually really happy for him that he won.
You are a saint, Evan. He got married recently. Congrats.
Yeah,
bro.
and he also just got married. So congrats to him. He already has an Aaron Rodgers jersey. I'm assuming he's going to choose a Devontae Adams jersey, but he has not responded to our email yet. So we've reached out to him. And but here's the cool thing. We do one of these every single month. We're doing another one for November. So go to b3tsports.com/contest and you can enter for your chance to win. There's so many ways to enter. Follow us on Twitter, watch a YouTube video, subscribe to us on YouTube, just subscribe to our newsletter, all that sort of stuff. How are you doing, Adam?
I am doing
Yeah?
as a Bears fan. It's
It
rough.
was?
As a fantasy football player, this is the first week this year I've gone 4-0.
Oh, that's good.
So
That's good. And honestly,
yeah, so as provided Travis Kelce does not fumble and score no more points.
Now,
so
I will say, as a Bears fan, yeah, that was rough. But you saw something that we haven't seen, which is life from your boy, your new quarterback.
oh my
I mean, out of the
goodness.
pocket, playing.
that fourth down run.
Exactly.
That we can just put that on.
Now, I want to say,
Rewind.
Adam Gase wasn't coaching, and you guys look competent. Is that a connected dots
Well, the
thing?
fact that you connected Adam Gase to Matt Nagy.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say the.
Well, you just called him Adam Gase.
Oh, did I really?
You listen back. You literally said Adam Gase.
That's unfortunate. Well,
I think it was a Freudian slip, and
you don't understand.
an accurate one at that.
So, 2 years ago, when
it's not.
when we started B3T Sports, I wrote a lot of articles on Adam Gase. I didn't like him as a coach. He did not deserve to be a head coach in the NFL. He was he was the worst coach at the time. At the moment, Matt Nagy is one of those to me. But there is another coach who I think he's really bothering me, and it's Kyle Shanahan. His record does not reflect what it should based on the praise that he gets as an offensive mind. I think that he needs to do better. The one thing that he does the worst at, in my opinion, I'd love to get your take on this before we get started. I think he's just.
Can I guess?
I just think, yeah, guess, please.
I get if the players are not ready to play, he does not want to coach them up.
Right.
Trey Sermon, Brandon Ayuk.
And these are guys that he traded up for, and he bashes them in the media. Like, the press conferences happen, and he is not kind to them. I'm not saying he has to be out there going like, he's the best player, we just got to get. He doesn't have to do any of that. But he needs to do something more than like, the dude's not ready. And he might not be ready. He's not an NFL caliber player. That's what he says. And it's just ridiculous. But, anyway, you want to start with our stat of the week?
Sure. So, speaking of Adam Gase, Mike White, if you don't know who that is, because a lot of you didn't know, he played quarterback for the Jets this week. And everyone thought, oh, Joe Flacco trade, Zach Wilson's gone, Bengals are going to spank them. No.
Dude.
The boy came out and won the game.
Yeah, he did.
Was throwing darts all over the field and threw for over 400 yards, which is the second most in the Super Bowl era in the first start, behind only your boy Cam Newton.
Yep.
With that stat, Adam Gase never, as a head coach, accumulated 400 total yards.
You know,
team yards.
I understand that there has to be something said about, because Adam Gase got the job because he had the season with Peyton Manning. Maybe if people have top offensive coordinating seasons with a Hall of Fame quarterback at the end of their career, we kind of put that on the quarterback more than the offensive coordinator. I'm just saying.
So
maybe.
Is Brian Leftwich a good candidate or no?
I mean, here's the thing. I don't blame anybody for taking the shot on Adam Gase when they did it, but I'm saying though that you need to understand that these quarterbacks are calling parts of the game. Like, that's what you're gonna get. It's different. Like when you look at the Cowboys offensive coordinator, he's gonna get a head coaching job this next year. I almost guarantee it.
I pray it is for the Chicago Bears.
Right.
I absolutely pray. Oh my gosh, him with Robinson's not coming back,
No,
but
he's not.
Fields, Mooney, Herbert,
Montgomery,
Monty, Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I think Cole Kmet's an athlete.
Cole Kmet is never going to be a vertical seam stretcher.
No,
He's
but you
never going to
don't
be
need
that.
him
Like
for
you,
that.
but you run him 5 to 10 yards down the field and put him in holes. That guy never goes down on first contact.
Sure.
He gets stood up on almost every single play. His momentum gets stopped. He doesn't get tackled because he is just so solid.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like, so you got a young quarterback, and their offensive coordinator is really he's lighting it up for the Cowboys. I think that that's the kind of stuff you have to look at as
him and Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator for the Bills. Those are the two guys that I would pay money to have them on my team.
My stat of the week is, this isn't necessarily surprising, but I do have a lot of bets with people out before the season started involving Matthew Stafford, because I really like Matthew Stafford. And a lot of people, I think 3-4 years ago when I liked Matthew Stafford, people said, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, I like him too. He's a good quarterback. But over the last couple of years, I think people have fallen into maybe he's overrated. But people got to remember, he was playing for the Lions. And
I have him as a top 6 I predicted him to be a top 6 fantasy quarterback this year, and I predicted Tom Brady to be number 1. So
I listen. You gotta no. I understand when I'm saying this. Like, I'm talking to all the people out there. I know you and I are, honestly, as much as we fight, we're very aligned on the sane parts.
Yeah, we haven't brought the fighting out here yet. We're still working on figuring out a format in which we can
box with each
fight.
other.
We don't want to be
combative.
Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless.
Who does?
Yeah,
they don't even want to be.
We don't. Yeah, they do. They're raking in money just for being full of conflict all day.
But
so
the thing with Stafford though is I have a lot of bets out this season. I have him winning more playoff games or making it further in the playoffs with the Rams than he ever has with the Lions. That should be a no-brainer. And then
at this point,
well, and he is okay. This is not taking away from Megatron at all. Megatron is phenomenal. One of the great. He did end his career a little early. I thought that was, everyone's gonna look at that and go, I can't believe he quit so young. But Cooper Kupp is on pace to break some of his records, and with Matthew Stafford of all people. So it's interesting to look at. Matthew Stafford has a passer rating of 118 this season. That's the highest among all quarterbacks. He's killing it. That team is only getting better. People say that it's not a huge leap, Matthew Stafford from Jared Goff. I think that's garbage. I think that is not the case at all. I think you really made that leap with Matthew Stafford. Now, you only have a couple years to do it. But I really am looking forward to seeing what he can do the rest of the season.
Yeah, and over the last 4 weeks, like everyone was talking about Cooper Kupp, over the last 4 weeks, they figured how to incorporate Robert Woods. Like his fantasy output, he's been a wide receiver 2 over the last 4 weeks, and a high one at that, which is what you were drafting him to potentially be. So that guy is just wheeling and dealing. A great offensive mind with finally a true number. Quarterbacks get taken number 1 overall all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's the most needed position. The difference between Stafford coming out and Goff coming out is night and day. It's not even close.
Let's see. What are you like wishing on anything tonight for Monday Night Miracles for your fantasy team?
As long as Travis Kelce does not fumble, and even with a fumble, as long as he doesn't take like a screen pass and fumble it and not get any more, half point PPR, I have a 2.5 1.4 point lead, and we lose 3 for fumbles. So as long as he has, he should be pretty much locked in. I almost didn't play him.
Really?
But I wanted the stats just for that. Football's been weird, and the Chiefs have been weird this year.
They have been weird.
But I wanted it for the league point total, so maybe I was a little bit greedy there. But
so what I need, it is kind of a miracle, but what I have 80 points in a league that I normally score I mean, buys got me a lot, and I had some injuries this week, but I am down 23 points to a guy who is only playing. Butker is the only guy he has left. He had Sterling Shepard, but he just left the game with a quad injury. I have Byron Pringle, Travis Kelce, and Booker. In this game, I need an extra 23 points. If I get 23 points from this point to the end of the game, I'll win the matchup.
No, Ian, you win that game.
I need to win it so bad because now, granted, both Trevor and Mike are gonna lose this week, so like the ceiling comes down a bit. But I mean, this league.
And my positive regression finally kicks in.
If you look at the records for everyone in that league, everyone is like 4-3, 3-4. Like, you know, we have 1 6-1.
Everyone fell.
Well, it's really, really.
Oh no.
Even.
Who? Okay, no more points for the Giants.
Why? Yeah.
They can get an extra point. Graham Gano, miss a field goal. Don't let Alec win. Oh,
I like
man.
Graham Gano.
He's Graham Gayes. Like,
yeah. All right, let's see here. So we just talked stat of the week. Let's go into some news and injury reports. First off, let's talk about Calvin Ridley. Nothing has been stated in the sense of what he is walking away from football. He said his mental health. There's no further detail in that, but obviously something was up all year. No one knew what it was because he had been missing practices, missing games. Obviously, I hope that he is all right, but it is a little peculiar just because of the timing. I mean, he's working. This is his contract year.
Yeah, but it's not a contract year. That's a misnomer. He has a 5th-year option. He's a first-round pick.
But I mean,
so next year can be it.
If you're the Falcons, what are you going to do?
But again, you would want to try and extend him based off of this year, and lock him in potentially if he's elevating. But, he's losing money, but I'd rather have him losing money and come back and be able to play football and play it at the highest level than he wasn't himself this year. And that, this gives some explanation to that. He just wasn't the same guy.
There we go.
We wish the best for him. Hope he's getting the help that he needs. And my recommendation, stop eating the wings before games from the gas station. No, the car wash. Not even a gas station. Car wash.
Happens. Sometimes you got to eat, man. I remember
that's his pregame tradition.
It's funny.
He eats buffalo wings from a car wash. Not a gas station, a car wash.
Mac Jones recently released his pregame meal, and he's like, it doesn't matter if it's nighttime, prime time, away, home. He says he always eats spaghetti with steak. That's his like pregame meal, and that makes sense. It's high protein and it's a bunch of carbs, but that's funny to me. Derrick Henry fractured his foot. He is out. The surgery is the heal time 6 to 10 weeks. Everyone's saying 8. 6 would be crazy fast. Not that it's impossible. I mean, Derrick Henry is a freak, but he's probably out most of the season.
Yeah, they're gonna rest him up until they can activate him for playoffs.
Right, and now
that extra game season is gonna actually prove to be very useful for them because right now they're in charge of the AFC. They're in charge of their division. They already swept the Colts.
Yeah, I was gonna say
they have the Titans and Jags left to go through, and AJ Brown being healthy has proven to be a huge lift for their offense. It's gonna be let's run through AJ Brown, and once
Julio is actually able to play a full game.
Yep.
They have already signed Adrian Peterson.
I think that's a great.
I think it's
signing.
a phenomenal pick. I actually think
I
think AP is going to get a majority of the carries. Now, I don't think they're going to be running as much, but I think if he gets 12 to 13 carries a game, I mean, he's going to be cheap. They'll be able to run him into the ground if they want to. And it's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. This is his best shot at a ring, in all honesty.
Yeah,
because
probably.
He stays on till Derrick Henry gets healthy. This is a good team. AFC has lost some games. If Derrick Henry has fresh legs in the playoffs, gets to come back for the playoffs, which is what he's slated to come back as. Or if they finish with the number 1 seed, they get an extra week, and then he comes back, and the other teams have to battle it out. That dude is going to be fresh. He's going to kill people.
And I believe the Titans have a fairly easy schedule coming up.
Yeah, that's because of their division. They've already played the Colts twice, got 2 wins. Now you got the Jags.
Yeah, so they have Rams, Saints. Those are tough.
Oof.
Those are back to back their next 2 games. Texans, that should be a free win. Then you have the Patriots. Patriots have been looking much better, but we'll see. Then the Jaguars, the Steelers, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and then the Texans again.
Win.
So I'm looking at at least I'm looking at
7 wins.
Well, I'm looking at least 3 guaranteed wins, 5 total wins of should be. So I mean, let's say what is their record now? 6-2. That'd make them 11-6 at worst.
11-5.
11-5.
Oh, 11-6. 11-6. Yep.
So
17 games.
So you're right. They've got to now. As far as fantasy is concerned, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Jeremy McNichols or would you rather have Adrian Peterson?
PPR, Jeremy McNichols, standard.
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. Half point, I would actually err to Adrian Peterson because I think his offense is still going to be prolific and he'll be the goal line back.
Yeah.
But McNichols is going to catch the ball. They're going to use him to run between the tackles. Peterson, and that's it.
I'm very excited for Adrian Peterson. I've actually gone and tried to pick him up in a lot of leagues. James Robinson, he left the game with a foot injury. That turns out he's just day to day. It turned out not to be nearly as serious as they thought, which is great.
Monitor that.
Yeah. Carlos Hyde.
We've had some weird injuries turn much longer, and this is one of the worst coaching staffs
in the league
ever.
Sam Darnold, concussion. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I don't know. He might.
I mean, they managed to win against the Falcons, who were coming in hot, but I think
I
think they were really suffering without Calvin Ridley. I think it was a tough blow for them to get that to come out just before the game, and basically him saying I'm done for a while. And I think he told the team that before the game that he couldn't go, and that's a tough pill to swallow. And somebody that you love can't go out on the field with you. You jumped over Jameis Winston.
Oh yes, I did. I'm sorry.
His knee did things that human knees are not meant to do.
That is correct.
That was unfortunate, and it really sucks for him. Could be good for another team.
Trevor Siemian,
other than the Saints. It'll be Taysom
Hill.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Trevor Siemian came in and played that game, but Taysom Hill is supposed to be clearing concussion protocol this week. Yeah. I fully expect Taysom Hill to be the starter.
Yeah.
By the way, every week that he started as a starter, Taysom Hill, he is a very valuable fantasy asset. He doesn't have Michael Thomas, but I mean, he still has Alvin Kamara. He still has his tight end. I mean,
they have that defense, and what all they're going to do is ground and pound, and they've shown that it works. Right. Well, and hit an occasional pass.
And now here's the other thing: they'll use Taysom in the run game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's the deal with Jameis, but he's most likely out for the season with an ACL tear.
Yeah.
The thing with Sam Darnold, he's got the concussion. I don't know if he'll clear protocol in time, but I want to say that if they get Christian McCaffrey back, Darnold becomes a solid start again because it does make passing the ball easier. Christian McCaffrey is a cheat code to any team in the league, but I'm not starting Sam Darnold anymore until Christian McCaffrey is back.
Yeah, I just offloaded him in
the turnovers, man, are just killer.
I offloaded him because the owner had somebody else, one of the other quarterbacks, got hurt, and
was it Jameis?
They had Russell Wilson sitting on their bench, so I traded and got Wilson.
Dak Prescott missed the game time decision. He was warming up even, but he has a strained calf from 2 weeks ago even.
This is excellent coaching.
Yeah.
Excellent decision making by a Super Bowl contending team. Your star quarterback who really makes that much of a difference. You could see it on the field.
You saw it last year. You even saw it in this game.
they still came out and got a win because they understood where they were going and that they were a championship team. It's just excellent that Dak is going to be 100% winning next step. So I call him that field.
And then Robert Tonyan tore his ACL. That sucked. When I was watching that play, when I saw him like do that, I was like, I just watched him plant super hard on that and then fall directly on it.
Well, and it wasn't even the planting. It's when he came back up, it got caught on the
turf, right?
No, on the player.
Oh, did it?
And then like you just saw his knee just do jelly, and it was like, oh, sorry, dude, that's rough.
And he's out. I mean, and that was that whole thing. I cannot believe the Packers won that game. Good on them in the sense that they didn't have their receivers. I understand that.
Maybe don't throw on the cornerback that was on your practice squad 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that could also be. But AJ Green's just got to turn around. I mean, I know that was a clear miscommunication, right? Like, just because if he turns around, AJ Green's gonna body that dude. He's gonna make that catch.
No, Douglas knew what play it was, and AJ Green faked inside leverage and didn't think Rasul would stay in outside leverage. He bodied him up. And AJ Green never turned around because of it. He just thought Kyler would go someplace else.
Man.
Because Douglas literally knew what play was coming.
All I got to say is, I mean, that game shouldn't have come down to that either. I mean, the Packers allowed 2 awesome throws from Kyler to get down the field there on the last drive anyway. That should never have been the case. But and so that's what we got for injuries. You want to go over the top scorers here from Week 8?
Yeah, so we'll go quarterbacks. So it goes top is Josh Allen, 2 is Mike White, 3 Jimmy Garoppolo, the Russian quarterback.
I was just gonna say
4 Tom Brady because he lives here at the age of 44, and number 5 Justin Fields.
And we should say these are as of right now. We're in the middle of the Monday night game. If Daniel Jones or some of these guys,
neither one of these guys are.
No, they're probably
right
not.
now on pace for it. Josh Allen. 3/4 of that game was awful, then figured it out and got his rushing thing and beat Cam Newton's record for most rushing touchdowns through 50 games.
That's insane. I mean, it's insane because that was part of Cam's game and the design for Cam as a quarterback, and that's not necessarily the plan for Josh Allen. They have it in their system, but I mean, like they don't come into a game going, all right, Josh, you're scoring most of our rushing touchdowns.
But, when Cam started, I think they still had, like, D'Angelo Williams and that. Name a competent Bills running back. Like, Moss and Singletary aren't getting it done. I mean.
Do you think.
So he's been the guy to finish.
Do you think the Bills should trade for Marlon Mack?
No. They've already spent capital on those 2. They're fine as runners. It's just not their identity. But those 2 need to figure out how to finish better. I think Singletary needs to spend the next offseason in the weight room, and I think Zach Moss needs to spend next offseason getting a little bit leaner.
Do you think that it would be more beneficial to them as a team to like maybe lean on one of them more, or do you think that it's fine doing the split?
No, I think it's fine for them to split. I don't think either one of them are bruisers.
Right.
So it's a matter of fresh legs for a playoff team, balance, do the things that the guys do well. So you don't have to, force Singletary to be a ground and pound run up the middle. You can make Zach Moss do that, and then get Singletary out in the flat, get him outside. Those are the things that he can do really well with his shiftiness, get him in space. So you just key in offensive plays. Now, I think the biggest thing is with the lack of, they're kind of one-dimensional as runners.
Right.
And when they're on the field, the defenses know
what they're aiming
it's either this type of run or a pass.
Right.
So I think that has led to some of their lack of success within the run game this year.
Before the game started, I'm talking 11:52 this week on Sunday. I had a trade on the table to get Josh Allen. I was offering up Lamar Jackson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kenny Galladay, and one other thing. What was it? I don't remember the other thing off the top of my head. But I was going to get Josh Allen, James Robinson, and something else. Something smaller. But I had no one. I was starting Taylor Heineke at quarterback, and I really wanted to win this week, and I just couldn't end up getting it to go through because they wanted something that I wasn't willing to give up. I just couldn't give up all that just for Josh Allen and a running back. But that
should have traded with me and not Alec.
For what? For Dak Prescott, who wasn't playing? I couldn't do it. I needed a quarterback. But speaking of quarterbacks, Mike White, who doesn't belong on this list, but made his way here through pure talent, right? 28.1 points. He threw the ball 45 times and completed 37 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there were a couple drops in there, and one of the interceptions wasn't his fault. So to him,
have a game.
Have a game. Now, don't go out and say Peyton Manning, I'm coming for your records like an idiot. But
number 3, Garoppolo wouldn't be on this list, but he rushed for 2 touchdowns. If you want to call it that, I mean, he rushed for
and
8
shouldn't be on this list too because Debo took a screen 83 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
Which should never have happened. And then additionally, he caught like a 50-yard Hail Mary. That was just a prayer. So a lot of yards there, but. Going to somebody who actually knows how to play the quarterback position, Tom Brady. He sucked in the last 5 minutes. He
did, and that's not common for him. And
the Saints do this to him.
The Saints defense is dirty, not like dirty as in like bad, but they're just
2008.
Not that dirty, but they're like they are.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I know you're triggered right now.
They are rough. They are physical. They tackle well. They wrap up well. They will beat the hell out of you. And
they have a lot of talent.
They do
on that defense. And if they get a full offense, it'll be interesting to see how they do with Taysom. Michael Thomas.
He should be back in the next week or two.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to come back. And then prodigal son, Justin Fields, 100 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown will do that. Only 175 passing yards. Yeah, but 100 rushing yards is insane for any quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't matter. So
those are like Lamar numbers. Lamar can't
just go watch him on that 4th down run where he scores a touchdown. It's just there's a freeze frame and it just says this man scored on this play, and there's literally like 7 49ers like within a yard of him, and he got away from all of them.
As far as wide receivers go, we had starting at 1, A.J. Brown, Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, of course, and Amari Cooper. The Tyler Lockett one made a lot of people upset.
I own 4 of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
The only one I don't own on a regular platform is Chris Godwin because I have Mike Evans and Antonio Brown. A lot of shares of him.
Let me see. Do I?
I did not play either Lockett or Cooper. I didn't play either one of them. And I'm going 4-0 this week.
I played Cooper in a lot of leagues. I did not play Lockett in any league. I actually don't own a lot of Lockett. I don't like the volatility, but.
Also, in DFS, I was, if Josh Reynolds had caught the touchdown instead of Jeff Swain for the Titans, I would have won my DFS pool.
Oh, really?
That was the difference.
That sucks.
It was.
You hate to see
it. It was the difference. I did not have Derrick Henry in my lineup. I had A.J. Brown as my captain, Tannehill, Wentz, Pittman.
DFS is so crazy. I mean, because you can pick the best players, but also if everyone picks those same players, the pot gets split.
You have to pick the one random guy
who has the shot,
and then get you can get 4 of the 6 right. Then you have to get but if you don't get all 5 of them right,
it's really tough. But it's fun. It's super fun.
I've just been playing $1 leagues. Just to get to know
just to get the hang of it. And that's a bit of a teaser. We'll go over our weekly DFS thing here later on. But
I don't even know how I did.
I tallied you up.
Okay.
So A.J. Brown was the wide receiver 1. Of course.
And is the wide receiver 1 going forward.
For that team especially.
He is that offense. I mean, he's been healthy for 2 weeks, and he's been at the top of this list for 2 weeks.
Pittman is turning himself into a top wide receiver. He's got the physical traits. He's never really had an amazing quarterback. Carson Wentz is playing much better. Like, granted, he threw that interception, that pick 6.
He did it. Kelsey fumbled.
No, he did not. He already had some points, though. So, I mean, like, it shouldn't be. That's really bad for me. I don't like that. Oh, he sure did. He's 1 for 4. The Chiefs are going to lose this game, aren't they?
Oh, he gets the yards from the play, so even though he has negative points, I'm still winning. Oh my gosh.
Dude, Travis Kelce, I can't believe that whole Chiefs offense. They need their bye week, man. They need it so bad. Like, they need to have like some meetings.
Man,
and
that's so terrifying.
Number 3, Chris Godwin. I mean, every week you're gonna have one of these guys in the top 5. It's just probably
And this one was actually pretty easy to predict. No Antonio Brown.
Right.
And Marshawn Lattimore has a history of following Mike Evans and causing him problems. Mike Evans, if he doesn't have that 40-yard touchdown, he has a really, really bad day. And normally he doesn't get that on Marshawn Lattimore. So you knew Godwin was going to eat.
And poor Gronk, I mean, like, finally he's back from the rib injury. He gets one play, back spasms, he's out. Like, one target, right?
Yeah.
Lockett doing Tyler Lockett things, 13 targets,
13 targets,
okay.
12 receptions.
Like,
that's the where has his game plan been the last couple of weeks? I realize it was the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you have the ability to put this excellent receiver who you're paying tens of millions of dollars, and you figured it out, and it's like have him win in the middle of the field and then just chuck it at DK Metcalf at the goal line.
But here's the thing. They don't like to do that because if you ever ask Pete Carroll how you play football, he says you establish the run. That is what he says over and over and over. They fired an offensive coordinator over it. Like, they got a new one this year because they didn't want to throw it nearly as much. And whatever. I don't know, man. And then Amari Cooper, 13 targets, 8 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, Cowboys having walk-off winning touchdowns, receivers.
This was Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and
Cedric Wilson.
They all had pretty good games. Imagine if Dak was out there actually commanding that offense. Like, it could have been a slaughter.
Yeah.
Running backs. You want to cover the running backs for us?
Yeah, so at 1, as we all predicted.
It's funny. I actually did have. I'm gonna gloat after this, but go for it.
Did you have him in DFS?
I took Michael Carter and played him in Superflex over a quarterback.
Oh wow!
I played him.
That's ballsy.
I played him over Justin Fields.
He had the 9 targets last week when White came in, so I actually had him as my captain on DFS,
sure.
And it worked out very well. And I also had Joe Mixon on that team, so those are 1 and 2. But Carter. 14 targets.
I don't know if that's sustainable. I mean, but he had 9 the week before.
I think you could be seeing this guy have 8 targets a week.
Now, and that could be great. Do you think that that's something? Now, if you're a dynasty owner with his skill set, with the way that their head coach like saw things work at the 49ers before, how do you
sell the bejesus out of this man?
You really think so? You're not in for it on the long term.
No, I can't be in on the Jets on the long term. And here's why. They're going to go back to Zach Wilson.
Right.
You can't tell me that an offensive coordinator going up into the booth is the biggest difference in that game.
Sure.
It's Zach Wilson's going to take some time. That offensive line is not up to where it needs to be yet, even with some high picks on there. They're just not a good enough team yet. And
I do have a question.
They came out and caught the Bengals. Bengals thought they had, after winning a very emotional week, they thought they had an easy win, and the defense thought they were going to pick the ball off and have a whole bunch of turnovers, and they did, and they still lost. So
do you think, like, I mean, and this is, I mean, probably not going to happen, but let's say that Mike White has 3 more weeks of games exactly like this. I mean, 400 yards, they win games. Like, it is a night and day difference. Do you think that there is a chance that there is a QB controversy for this team?
No chance.
Just because of the because of the payday and the capital.
You can't with the draft. You can't with the draft capital. And the thing is, I don't know what his contract status is like.
He is a free agent next year.
Mike White's?
He's a free agent.
Okay. Yeah. So, honestly, if I am if I'm the Jets, they said, "Oh, he's starting next week."
Do you trade him for the deadline?
I would have seen if somebody would have taken him. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's
a lost season. The best thing for your team is to lose and get a higher pick. You're not a playoff team.
Yeah, you're definitely not.
I mean, if this was happening to me in Madden and like my star quarterback got hurt and I wasn't capable of winning games, which is true for me in Madden. I don't know how to run the ball. I would sell a quarterback who put up that somebody,
Sure.
people need quarterbacks.
So
keep going down the list. Yeah. Joe Mixon. A lot of this actually came on the fact that he had 2 touchdowns and caught 4 balls for 60 yards. Aside from that, he averaged 2.3 yards per carry. That Jets
didn't look very good.
Jets defensive line was living in that backfield. That's the first time that offensive line has truly looked like a liability. But Keenan Williams will do that. Austin Eckler managed to get a score, popped off a big run, and the thing you love to see, and the theme that you see among most of these guys is, here's 10 targets, 6
absolutely.
catches, and that huge difference makers. Aaron Jones, again, no Devontae Adams, hugely involved in the pass game, 7 catches.
He's like the running back 5 on the year, isn't he?
Aaron Jones. Yeah, and it feels gross.
It does feel gross, and I wanted to know why that was,
because he has had spike games and he has had.
Well, he's had a 40-point. He's had a 40-point game this year.
Yeah, I think he's had spikes and yikes.
If you take the 40-point game and average it to just say 20, he's probably near running back 9, 10, which is still good. But I mean, it's not top 5. I don't know. I actually had Jones placing at running back 9, 10, 11 this year, like coming into the season.
He becomes really valuable because I think that they are going to lean more on Dillon as a pure runner.
Right.
And with no other receiving options, especially with Tunyon going down, I think that he becomes the number 2 option in the passing game. I think he already is, and that's where you're seeing a lot of that value come out. And I think they're going to figure out ways to integrate him more into the passing game.
I'm not a huge Packers fan. Like I can appreciate Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, like the connection. Like they're really, really good at football. I'm a lover of football. But one thing I do love, when I watch them hand the ball to Dillon and he makes first contact, that man is insane, right? Like he falls forward all the time. He always takes somebody with him, and it's just really impressive. And then Henderson, number 5. He was on the field 61% of the time, 14 attempts. He rushed for near 100 yards, 90 yards, and he averaged 6.43 yards a carry with a touchdown. He only had 2 targets. Obviously, you're going to want to see that.
One was a receiving touchdown. And also, they didn't need him to do anything in the passing game. It was the Texans. It was easy. He has surprisingly turned in one of the top running back performances this season. I mean, he is one of the best, if not the best value from the draft right now.
Yeah. I would say it's crazy because anyone you put with the Sean McVay offense, like those running backs, and if they're talented, he knows how to use them.
Yeah.
Tight ends. So number 1, Hawkinson. 2, Dan Arnold. 3, Freiermuth. 4, Goddard. 5, Jordan. That one's stupid. I mean, tight ends had a bad week this week.
Tight ends will do it. I mean, if you had to stream this week, it probably turned out okay from you. Or hitting guys like Dan Arnold.
If you didn't have Hawkinson,
probably not Brevin Jordan. Yeah.
And Hawkinson, I gotta be real here. Yeah, he got 11 targets, 10 receptions, 80-90. I mean, he had a good tight end week. He should be seeing this almost every week, and the fact that he's not, really, I don't understand. Because they don't have
Jared Goff is not a good quarterback.
No, he's not. He threw it away on 4th and 11.
And here's what's going to happen is they are buying into that Dan Campbell culture. They're going to get Kayvon Thibodeau with the first overall pick.
You think so?
I don't. Yeah.
I do believe they're going to get the first pick.
I think they add somebody in free agency to compete with Goff and take a shot at somebody later in the draft. And if they need it, then they go get him the quarterback the next year. Because this is not the class for the quarterback.
It's not. And you know what? people.
And your Panthers passed on them.
Yes.
Passed on Justin
Yes,
Fields.
he did. Now,
So thank you.
but speaking of the Panthers, I did want to bring this up. The Lions, they don't have any receivers anyway. If you aren't a major passing team and you want to just be a ground pound team, Cam Newton's out there. If you don't, I think that's a very interesting idea in the sense that you could run Cam, Swift, and Williams.
Yeah, they're not going Georgia Tech.
You'd have to change your offense 100%. But it's just you already are missing wide receivers, and Cam can make throws. I mean, you can't put the game on his shoulders to you know what I mean, like. But you can't do that with Goff either. So just as an idea, that's interesting.
But most of these guys are streamer. Dan Arnold's an interesting one. He keeps getting more and more targets. The Jags wanted him in free. They wanted him in free agency. He was like, I don't want to be on this crappy of a team. And goes and signs with the Panthers.
Little did he know.
Like, hey, we drafted Tommy Tremble.
Who's
this
looking
kid looks
good.
like what we want him to be. Since they traded Dan Arnold, they've lost a whole bunch of games.
It's
finally,
true.
It is. Maybe he was doing a little bit more in their blocking game that they realized. But he's an interesting one to watch and add. If you need a tight end, Jags are always going to be behind, and he's getting a lot of looks, and they like him. So the other one, Pat Freiermuth, holy cow, was that a catch?
Yeah, and
that's how you want to do it.
And he's a rookie. Big Ben looks like he likes him. I mean, he gets targets.
Yeah. Goddard's
looked good.
This is what you hope for. Now, he got this even though they spanked the crap out of the Lions and ran the ball 46 times.
Which is insane.
He is the number one target on this offense. With Ertz leaving is going to catapult Goddard into that tight end top tier, back at like that 6-7 tight end spot, and he's just gonna live there. And if he gets a touchdown, he's gonna pay dirt. Brevin Jordan, don't chase it.
No, I don't think anyone.
Good for him.
No one was playing him.
He's interesting to think about in Dynasty. He's a rookie out of Miami, playing for the Houston Texans. So we'll see. Oh, please be holding. Please be holding.
All right.
Move it back.
Now, before we hop into Game Chasers, I just want everyone to know that this podcast is brought to you by Dynasty Pros. Go check out dynastyprosfootball.com. They are really great with waiver wire pickups and IDP and Devi research to help you win your leagues. Go build your dynasty, dynastyprosfootball.com. We're going to move into Game Chasers now.
All right, I'm going to beat you to the punch because we don't have them written
No,
down,
we
so
don't. Sorry, I didn't notice that.
I'm not letting you take mine.
All right, you can go
All
first.
Right, the two I'm going with, Buffalo Bills versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh,
Bills are going to kick the crap out of them, but the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to get a lot of garbage time points. One that if you're a wide receiver needy, think about Jamal Agnew.
Yes.
He has quietly been figuring out how to play the wide receiver position, and they like him. And Josh Allen, that they should eat all day, that whole team. It should be scary. And the other one, yes, Derrick Henry is out, but I want the Rams, Tennessee, because this screams pass all day, every day. The only thing that frightens me is if the Rams are smart, they've been using Ramsey at a whole bunch of different things, and it's made their defense better. I think they take Ramsey, and I think they go put him on A.J. Brown and say win.
Yeah, and honestly, there are only maybe two corners in the league who I think you could do that with A.J. Brown, and Ramsey's one of them. So, I mean, I don't know if he will win, but he could, and that might be their best shot at it. My games for chasing are Green Bay and the Chiefs, because Green Bay they're still missing they're like number 1 and number 2 corner. I think that if Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be able to put offensive points up on the board, it's going to be on a shootout like that. I am not ready to give up on the Chiefs. If they can't put up points against that after not being able to put up points against the New York Giants, we're going to have a serious conversation, because that's a disaster. And then my next one is Eagles and Chargers. the Eagles run the football like with their quarterback, with their running backs, and the Chargers are horrible against the run. And the Chargers have a shot at being behind because they haven't really looked like I thought they were going to look, and they're going to have to pass the ball a bunch. So,
I think Kadarius Toney broke his arm or hand.
of course he did.
Dang it.
I'm not laughing at Kadarius Toney. I obviously hope he's okay, but just what a trend for that guy, right?
I don't think you can put that on him. Just watching the play, he literally got his helmet tackled into his.
I don't want to say that the
arm.
injury was his fault, but I do just want. I mean, like he keeps getting injured. All right, you want to go into
injuries are not a trend. It's not a relevant statistic.
I think some injuries are. That's actually
have higher chance of recurrence.
Yeah, I would say that would be a great segment. You know, let's put that in our cap. We'll have a segment on that maybe next week.
Well, we should talk about it in the off season. Is when we should really talk about
listen,
it.
we can talk about it's our show. We can talk about whatever we want whenever we want.
Okay, well, it's our show, so you should be willing to listen to my ideas as well, Andy. It's not all about you.
We're gonna talk about QBs now. Week 9 waiver wire targets.
What? You can't put Mike White on here. I'm sorry.
No, come on. We do this every week. These are not always guys that we're telling you to chase. These are just we want to talk about the guys who are trending in your leagues because it's important. Because Mike White's gonna be trending in everyone's league. He is, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you need a desperate stream, do you think that that's something that is viable?
No to Mike White. Go get Taysom Hill or Daniel Jones.
I would very much agree. Taysom Hill is for sure a solid snag.
Yeah. Wide
receivers. You already talked about him. I would love to bring it. Jamal Agnew, I think, is a great pickup.
Yes. Yeah. And he's not even the best pickup. I hope people were ahead of this one. I was. I got Devontae Parker ahead of time.
1 week
because
before.
he was targeted. You know, I stashed him on a lot of teams and PPR teams. He's not going to be a touchdown scorer, but they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. They're not playing well. They don't have a good run game. He's going to get 10 targets a game, and that's somebody that you can put into your lineup any given week.
When is Will Fuller expected to come back shortly off of IR?
Yeah, with the finger, and I think that should only help the offense.
Agree.
It'll be interesting to see. I think Mike Gesicki takes the most hit when that happens.
Russell,
I think it becomes more equalized between Jalen Waddle, Will Fuller, Devontae Parker.
They'll actually have a core of wide receivers.
Yeah.
Russell Gage, I think he put up a goose egg this week, which
and you also have Tajay Sharp, who's playing for the Falcons. Don't give me either one of them right now
until they figure that out. I mean, it's weird because without Calvin Ridley, they've only got Kyle Pitts. And we saw that he was getting triple teamed, sometimes even quadruple teamed on 2 plays specifically. He was quadruple teamed, and
and when you can put Stephon Gilmore on top of it, I mean, they need to go put their best cover guy on Kyle Pitts because it's clearly flustering him. I would not be shocked if the Falcons make a move for a wide receiver here at the deadline.
That's so tough if you're the Falcons, though, right? Because you were already on the fence of like you were not rebuilding because you didn't get a QB. You're like, I'm gonna stick with Matt Ryan. You were like,
well, and Matt Ryan's contract didn't allow for that.
No, I'm just saying that like you knew.
No, I totally get where you're going.
Right, like you knew that they were gonna like we're trying to make another run with this, so we've got the weapons, and now you don't have Calvin Ridley. And are you going to go out and spend a bunch of capital to get a wide receiver when maybe Calvin Ridley's back the next year? Yeah, I guess that'd be cool to have those 2 wide receivers with Kyle Pitts. But are you shooting yourself in the foot for the future? Like, you know, because you're not going to have Matt Ryan forever. Running backs, we already talked Jeremy McNichols, Adrian Peterson at the top of the show. Who'd you rather have? Full PPR, McNichols, half and standard, Adrian Peterson. This one I did not see coming. Boston Scott was definitely the lead back for the Eagles. Now, granted, he only ran the ball 12 times, but
yeah, so did Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
So,
who would you rather have between those 2?
It's interesting. Here's the thing: Jordan Howard is an excellent NFL running back. The fact that he keeps booting around and not getting reps on teams is insane to me. He just turned 27. Which is he's not that old, And really, over the past few years, he hasn't accumulated that much mileage, so I'd be okay starting him. Based off of who got the reps first, though, it's going to have to be Boston Scott.
Right.
Jordan Howard is a desperation stash. They don't play the Lions every week. They play the Chargers next week, who are very susceptible on the ground. Jordan Howard, if you are desperate, no, hear me again, desperate, you can plug him in because he's probably going to get a touchdown.
Carlos Hyde, again.
No.
Well, here's the thing, though. If James Robinson is out, are you looking to start Carlos Hyde? I mean, he would be the running back there, would he not?
Oh, he would be.
And it's disgusting. Don't get me. It's gross. Like but if James Robinson is
put
out,
as running back, if that happens.
You really think so? I mean, it's Urban Meyer. There's so many things could happen, but I just want people to be aware. If I'm not going to chase Carlos Hyde, even if I am if I am the James Robinson owner, then I might go and pick him up. I'm not spending a ton of fab unless I don't have another starting running back. But I think you have to be aware of your situation, right?
Yeah.
And then he's probably owned, but I just wanted to bring up Michael Carter. As long as White,
if he's out there, throw everything you got at him.
Yeah,
empty out the fab.
If White is the quarterback, he's going to check it down. Even if White doesn't have the game that he did before, I still believe he's going to target Michael Carter 6 to 10 times.
Yeah, he becomes a flex option going forward.
Tight ends, we already talked. Dan Arnold for sure. Pat Freiermuth. I mean, he's kind of a touchdown player, but Ben, we talked, likes him. I also want to bring up Tyler.
Yeah, and with Juju out,
right?
And with Juju out, he has been, Brett Coleman said he predicted he's going to be the next Travis Kelce here in a couple years.
Oh wow, high praise.
Yeah, it really is. And Conklin made a couple great plays. Just that offense, I'm not throwing darts at who the 3 is.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
The only thing that I like to mention with Conklin is if you look at his stats prior, he does get decent tight end volume. He does get targets. So, I mean, as far as dart throws go, I mean, I feel like his floor is fairly safe in the realm of tight ends. And that's kind of nice because, yeah, if you don't have a Kittle, a Kelce, a Waller, or a Hawkinson, you're kind of just hoping that your tight end doesn't lay an egg. And I feel like Conklin typically is going to get you something. And then DST is my favorite DST this week. Shocker, Miami Dolphins. They play Houston. Anyone who plays Houston, they're my number one.
Yeah, they are up there. Who do the Colts play?
Jets.
Yeah, I would rather play the Jets. They stop the run so well. It would be very interesting to see. Darius Leonard isn't letting Michael Carter go off like that.
Yeah, hopefully not. I also like Pittsburgh against Chicago. Now, this could be different. If Nagy is there, I love them against Chicago. If Nagy is still out, then maybe it's not as great. And then I also like Dallas versus Denver. Denver's bad. They tried really hard to lose against the Washington football team, but they couldn't quite do that.
Oh, man. Nope, that's not a catch. It's not a catch me, Cole. The first look looked good. Second look doesn't look good. Yeah, it's off the ground. The Dallas Cowboys, I think, would be somebody to start against Denver. They just lost their face of the franchise.
Yeah.
They're not going to be the same team.
No, they're not. I can't believe that they traded. But, I mean, I guess that's probably what he wanted. But
well, and it's a great move on their part because they are maybe a playoff team. Maybe. In the best case scenario. But they're not making a run with that team.
Right.
No offense.
I mean, they're not.
So, you clearly need a quarterback for the future. Teddy's not it. You just got a second and third round pick. Now they're going to be probably 32 in their respective rounds. But you got a second and third round pick for a guy that if you had let go, you would have gotten a fifth round pick for a year later. For them, absolutely brilliant. If they had gotten a third for Von Miller with his money. Now, the big thing was I think they ate a lot of Von Miller's money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, and that happens.
So it
That
doesn't
happens
count.
a lot when you like trade these big contracts. It's kind of the only way that you can get some of these teams.
And he's on the last year of his deal, needs a new deal. I would rather go play alongside of Aaron Donald because that translates pretty well to last paycheck.
But all right, so that's those are our kind of waiver wire. That's waiver wire talk for week 9. We're gonna wrap with the B3T Sports sponsored segment, the DFS Showdown. Last week, week 8, the preview, we did the Thursday night game, the Packers and the Cardinals. I took James Conner as my captain, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Jones, Randall Cobb, and then I took the Cardinals DST. You had Edmonds as your captain, Kyler, Rodgers, Allen Lazard, which that was really the reason you ended up losing this week. Allen Lazard.
So actually, I do have to let me pull it up. I did pivot.
Oh, sure. I was curious if you
thing.
did, but we hadn't talked quite yet about.
Yeah.
Because like I was also looking when Allen Lazard like was ruled out to see like do I want to change anything, and I kind of liked it. I almost changed Aaron Jones to my captain, which I think would have been great. It would have been great, but I wouldn't have been able to keep James Conner. James Conner scored 2 touchdowns for me, which was really nice. But
let's see if I can find.
And while he looks that up, I'm gonna let you guys know ahead of time. DraftKings currently does not have the Thursday night Jets Colts game up on DFS for whatever reason. Maybe they're having trouble scoring it or something like that. I'm not certain, but we're not gonna be able to do it this week. But we'll go over week 9. Or week 8, and we'll do another segment here for you.
Oh, it doesn't get better.
Oh, who'd you start instead?
Oh, well, I put Kyler Murray as captain.
Oh, okay. Which
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
Tunyon.
Okay.
Crosby and Dylan.
Yeah. I mean, what was your final point total?
62.
62.
Yeah.
All right. So you came out at 62. I finished with 82.46. I played a 200 person one. I finished 72nd. I didn't even finish in the money. These ones are really hard. It's way easier, I think, to have a really good lineup during the main slates, during the Sunday noon to night game slate.
See, and I don't like those as much.
Really?
I don't like the variability. I would rather, because I feel like, you can if you hit 4 of the 5,
right?
Then it's pretty good. And then again, you get the one random touchdown score because that happens every single game. So I just started putting one random player into my lineup.
Right. The reason I don't like I like those other ones better is because there is some variance, and I feel like you and I are good at fantasy football, right? Like we're really good at evaluating players and matchups, and I feel like I do good enough that when I get into the money for that, it's usually positive ROI. When I feel like if I'm only okay at the smaller sets here, I end up maybe doubling. I could go from $5 to $10, which the ROI isn't nearly as high as it is for the other ones. And with these, there's less variation to make, which means I end up tying a lot with people. So you end up splitting pots more often and all that sort of stuff. However, I guess I do DFS. I've done DFS like longer just because I'm a degenerate sports gambler. So in the sense of like you've also mentioned at the beginning of the show, you're like learning how to like what you like best.
Oh, absolutely.
So like,
and it may be there may be a potential soon of me being full-time legal degenerate instead of me betting when I visit Iowa. So
exactly. So I'm very excited to get that going. I think that's our show. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before?
My feelings? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that allowed? No, actually, on the Kurt Crew Fantasy Football Podcast, we're actually recording it tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
Because we have a very special guest on. His name is Brett Coleman.
No way. You got Brett Coleman again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys should go listen to that, the Kurt Crew Fantasy Podcast.
He is he's one of the premier YouTubers and podcasters, I think, on NFL content. His film room breakdowns are
awesome. I
really
watch
helping me
all
understand.
the time.
helping me understand football. And the biggest thing that I'm needing to learn to understand better is defenses.
Oh yeah, it's
and
tough.
learning that. I'm trying to learn the whole game of the NFL so then I can, aside from special teams because they don't matter.
No. So it's funny you say that. They don't matter nearly as much as people think.
They do matter.
Well, okay, there's a study with over 4,000 kick returns, right? Did you know that out of that sample size, where you bring the ball out and where you start your drive, it almost doesn't matter at all where you start compared to like what your points equal.
Yeah, statistically it averages out, oddly enough, because of they determine that's where it comes from. So then the teams that don't have a competent returner know better. But teams, Bears, I like Jakeem Grant taking it out of the end zone. I think he's got some juice. Now, I desperately wish for Devin Hester's kid to become draft eligible.
Sure.
Because that's all I want is more Hester. Because the league is better with a guy like that. But he'll never be replicated.
All right, I think that's gonna do it. Like I said, I'm at Andy Heidemann on Twitter. I just passed 800 Twitter followers, which isn't a crazy amount, but we're growing. You can follow B3T Sports at B3T Sports. You can follow
me on Twitter, and I'll tweet maybe once a week.
Yeah, but you're active at watching though. You like retweet stuff, don't you?
No, I've become less. I really pushed. My brothers really wanted me to get into it, but
right.
I've got a 10-month-old. I'll get on the show here and steal everyone's hearts. All
right, I think we're out of here. Peace.